I have a question, Vorden said. How did you figure out what we were up to? I planted a listening device into Peter's wristwatch when you asked me to make adjustments. I felt like you were hiding something, so this was the best cause of action. It's okay. Logan, are we still friends? Quinn asked. We're friends? Logan replied with an odd look on his face. Of course. Friends help each other out, and you've helped me more than ever, Quinn explained. Well, if that's the case, this seems to be a one-way friendship, since you haven't helped out with anything at all yet, Logan replied. You're right, Quinn said. I haven't helped you when you helped me so much. You know that briefcase from before? Well, my system says it was made by Richard Eno. The biggest worry looming over their heads had finally disappeared, but that didn't mean they were completely in the clear. While Vorden and Peter had decided to go back to their rooms, Quinn decided he would go visit the girls and update them on the situation. After a knock on the door, he spoke through the door to confirm it was him, and the three of them then went for a walk down the hallway while Quinn explained everything that happened. So, he won't have to eat humans anymore, and there is no need to get involved with that Fex kid again? Good, Aaron said. Still, after Quinn had told them everything, Layla could tell that something else was on his mind. What's wrong? Is there another problem? She asked. Quinn then proceeded to tell them the situation with Duke, how they desperately wanted Peter to learn the level 4 Earth ability by the end of the week. The major problem was Peter didn't have an Earth ability, and he was too involved to cut ties. Wait, did you say the end of this week, this Sunday? Layla asked. Yeah, that's what Peter told us, Quinn replied. Layla was visibly shaken after she heard this news, but she forced her facial expression to remain neutral. The message she had received from one of the Pure agents was Truedream would be coming at the end of the week. One of the Pure group's biggest targets was Truedream. He was the whole reason why the military was able to keep such a strong grip on everyone. The reason why he was coming, of course, was to take students' abilities from them and add them to his men. And Peter had been selected as one of the targets. The sun had finally risen. A few people around the school had struggled to sleep through the night, and Layla was one of them. Throughout the whole night, she had been pondering how to inform the others. Every term, Truedream would visit a different military base. However, it turned out that he had visited a particular one more often than the others, and that was Military Base 2. This was the reason why Layla had been sent to this place. Something strange was going on with Military Base 2. They hadn't been able to figure out what yet, because so far, every agent they sent had disappeared. Thus, they decided to do things differently this time, so instead of sending a grown-up, they decided to send an agent, who was at the age of the draft, a student. Layla had entered the school using false documents. Her family wasn't prominent, but she didn't mind if she was to lose her ability. She had only obtained it for the mission in the first place. The only thing that she didn't want was to end up like Peter and be the military's lapdog. She needed an outside person, where she could observe everything that was happening without getting involved. With all things said, she didn't have to warn them about what could happen, but Layla wanted to. The question left was, how should she go about explaining what she had discovered? The morning combat classes had started, and Layla had wanted to team up with Quinn, hoping she would be able to get a hint on what they were planning with Peter. Unfortunately, before she could even reach Quinn, he had already gone off to Fex. What are you daydreaming about? Aaron shouted. The two girls continued to train together using the leg techniques, but a slip in Layla's concentration caused her to drop her guard. She wasn't able to lift her knee in time, as how she would usually during practice, and instead, Layla took a full-blown kick from Aaron to her side. Ouch! Layla exclaimed as she dropped to the floor while gripping her side. What's wrong? We have practiced that kick so many times. I was sure you would be able to block something like that, Aaron said as she walked over and offered her hand to her fallen comrade. Layla lifted her hand to grab Aaron's, but the pain on her side hurt even more. Furthermore, she noticed a stinging pain arise every time she breathed. What the hell? I knew your sword skills were monstrous, but where did you get such strength in your kicks? I think you broke one of my ribs. Would you stop complaining? Aaron said as she knelt. Can someone call the guard and take her to the doctor's office? Leo said. Aaron then lifted Layla from the ground, allowing her to use her shoulder for support. Don't worry, I'll take her, Aaron said. The two girls then started to leave the room together. As they were walking, Layla couldn't help but feel useless and pathetic. Would you please stop crying? I didn't mean to hit you that hard. You usually block something like that, Aaron said, in an attempt to comfort Layla. Layla didn't even notice, since her thoughts were so muddled, that tears were now slowly descending from her eyes. She wiped them away and simply put on a brave smile. "Oh, it's not that. I was just thinking about how useless I am to the team whenever we're in a fight," Layla said. "Well, you're not wrong about that," Aaron replied, not realizing how harsh she sounded. Although Aaron was right, it still hurt Layla to hear it straight from her mouth. "But you help in other ways. You were the one who thought about that blood bowl, remember? I can't say much, but honestly, if you weren't there to hold me back sometimes, I would have already shoved a few spikes up the boys' backsides." Layla laughed. "Aaron, this is kind of a strange question to ask, but are we friends?" Back at the training hall, the lesson had just finished for the day. "Hey, I know this is kind of strange to ask after everything that happened between us, but what are you planning to do after this?" Fex asked. "Me? I was planning to go to the VR gaming room," Quinn replied. "VR gaming room? What's that?" Fex asked, with a little bit of excitement in his eyes. "I can show you if you want. You want to come along?" "Well, I mean, if you want me to come that bad, sure," Fex replied. Fex was standing casually outside in the sun, and Quinn could see it didn't affect him at all. While Quinn had to prepare his trusty umbrella, seeing this, Fex couldn't help but giggle at the thought that Quinn looked like an old man. "What are you doing with that old thing?" Fex asked. "Do you not have a ring?" He lifted his hand, showing the small ring. Quinn was now close enough to see that it did look like the one in his shop. Quinn didn't know how to reply to Fex. The system had informed him that one of these rings were the basics of vampires. "Oh, I see now," Fex said. "You're one of those vampires raised here on Earth, aren't you? Trained to blend in and report back? I guess that's why you didn't go through the formal initiation and don't have one of these." "Was the initiation hard?" Quinn asked. Fex started to laugh nervously at this question. "Was it hard? Of course it was hard. Yet I was one of the youngest vampires to ever complete it. You see, the initiation is getting the materials for the ring itself. A young vampire must go out and slay 10 death bats," Fex finished, a little bit depressed. As they continued to walk to the VR center, Fex looked at his ring and felt a little guilty. He had lied to Quinn just now. He hadn't earned the ring like he said he did. He had gone out and traveled and fought against the death bat, but after a gruesome fight and near-death experience with one, he decided to go on to the marketplace and hire some travelers to hunt the beasts for him. With this, he managed to gather most of the crystals needed to make the ring. But his last traveler who accepted the contract never replied. In the end, it was all thanks to the blood evolver who placed the crystal in the marketplace that he was able to craft the ring. They had finally arrived at the VR room, and it was a sight that Fex had never seen before. They went to the counter, and Quinn paid for both him and Fex. They both got into the pods and logged into the game. Fex's whole mind was then transported to the large, empty white lobby space. Just as Fex was in deep thought thinking about it, he had received a friend request. "User ID Blood Evolver would like to add you." Fex carefully looked at each letter of the word in front of him one by one, that it was the same user ID that was also used in the marketplace when he had bought the beast crystal. When Fex first saw the crystal, he thought maybe someone had killed a bat along the way and didn't know what to do with it, and chose to sell it after finding out it could only be used to create a silly ring. But now, thinking about it more, all sorts of questions started running through his head. He accepted the friend request, and immediately Quinn was transported to the same white space that Fex was in as well. "Foxy Fex?" Quinn said, looking at his username. "What, you don't like it?" Fex said. "Better than Blood Evolver. What are you trying to do? Tell everyone out there you're a vampire?" Quinn laughed nervously back. "I thought it would be vague enough. Plus, who else but other vampires would think that?" Quinn replied. This was the confirmation Fex needed. While standing there and thinking about everything, Fex could see Quinn using his blood skills in the game. Not only that, but he was able to use them constantly without getting tired. "What is that?" Fex asked. "This?" Quinn replied. Quinn then explained how while in the lobby of the game, they were able to practice using their vampire skills without tiring out. After trying out a few skills here and there, Fex had a big grin on his face. He then started performing his martial arts while mixing in the blood skills. Still, what had impressed Quinn the most while watching him practice was the martial arts he was performing with his fists. When Fex had stopped, he walked over to Quinn with a hop in his step. "Hey man, this is great! I wonder why the vampires don't have a bunch of these in their buildings. It could help the kids train. That's right, you didn't learn any, did you, since you grew up here and everything? You know I can teach you the martial arts if you want." Fex thought this was a great idea. He wanted to repay Quinn for getting him the beats crystals he needed, and this could be his way of returning the favor secretly. Really? Would that be okay? Quinn asked. Why not? You're a vampire, so you have the right to learn it. Do you remember what I did to your friend on the roof? Well, if you let me do the same to you, then I can show you how to use martial arts. My string puppet is unique, so when you perform it, it will feel like I'm performing the skills through your body, Fex explained. What Fex was offering wasn't a bad proposal. The problem was whether or not Quinn could trust him with his body.
Hi, Quinn here. Wondering what happens next? If you want to jump the queue and unleash all episodes, click on the link here and install the Pocket FM app.